We're going to be looking at the graphs of rational functions. When we're looking at the graphs of rational functions, what we're talking about is anything that isn't necessarily a linear, quadratic, cubic in the polynomial form. So we're looking at specifically a graph in the form of f of x divided by g of x. And when we're looking at this, we're going to be looking at what is the domain and range for these, what's the, are there any vertical or horizontal asymptotes, what is our end behavior. So these are all things that we've talked about before. It's just now looking at a different type of graph or style of graph. If we look at, this is a rational graph here of 1 over x. We can see, looking at this graph, that our domain is from negative infinity to 0, and then 0 to positive infinity. At 0, notice we have a vertical asymptote right through there. And that would make sense because if we look at our function here, x, you can't divide by 0. So that's going to be where our vertical asymptote lies. Looking at this, our range is the same thing. We have a horizontal asymptote at the x-axis. That's how we get into separate our two branches. If we're looking at the end behavior, as I'm going towards the left, it's going towards negative infinity, or it's going towards 0, sorry. As I'm going to the right, it's going towards positive infinity. Now, if I have a number over top, so say I have 2 over x, what happens? The graph actually takes on similar shape. It just is pulled away from the axis a little bit, but the end result is going to be the same where it's going along that x-axis. Now notice on this next one, I have an x minus 3 in the denominator. Based on transitions and transformations of what we've talked about, we should know that this is going to slide left to right. It's opposite of what we see, so it's going to slide right 3. So looking at this compared to the parent function of that red one, we can see that that graph in fact shifted. So the transformations are still there, they're still taking effect. The same concept of what we've talked about with parabolas and all of those other types of graphs. I'm going to show you how you can be given a function. You don't necessarily have to graph it. You can find information off of the graph algebraically in terms of like the horizontal and vertical asymptotes and that kind of information. So vertical asymptotes can be found algebraically. If we're talking about rational functions, this is a little bit easier because we know that a rational function has to be f of x divided by something. So for instance, if I have x plus 3 over, let's go x squared plus 5x plus 4. Looking at this, I can find the horizontal asymptotes by setting the denominator equal to 0. Okay, well that means I'm going to have x squared plus 5x plus 4 equal to 0. Well, this is a little bit easier now because I'm only looking at a quadratic. I know how to solve a quadratic by doing factoring, using the quadratic formula, using the quad program. There are options there on how I can solve this algebraically. I'm personally going to choose AC factoring because you guys know I love factoring. So I have x squared plus 1x plus 4x plus 4 equals 0. X is pulled out on that first set, 4 is going to be pulled out on that second set. So looking at this, here is the thing that you have to be cautious with. When you set the denominator equal to 0, yes, that generally is going to find your vertical asymptote. But here's the key word, or key phrase, I should say. If the numerator were to have that same set of factors, you actually do not have a vertical asymptote. Instead, you have a hole. So just let's finish this one first, and then I'll show you an example of where you might have a hole. So if we're looking at this one, I'm going to have x plus 3 over x plus 1, x plus 4. Our vertical asymptotes will lie at x equals -1 and x equals -4. Okay, so let me give you an example of when you have to be cautious. So let's say, for instance, I have x minus 2 over x minus 2, x plus 2. So most people would automatically say, okay, set the denominator equal to 0, find it, I'm going to say x equals, we're going to have vertical asymptotes at x equals 2, x equals -2. But this is what I'm talking about. Those are the exact same. So technically, if you have an x minus 2 over an x minus 2, that would cancel out. So that's just telling us that we actually have a hole there. We're talking about where our function could be discontinuous. This is the other way that we could do it algebraically. And this makes sense if we go to our graph here. So I'm going to have x minus 2. Silly fish. Sorry, I didn't have this one ready to go. So if we look at this, also helps to find my parentheses in the correct spot. Okay, so if we look at this, you can see that you have that vertical asymptote at that -2, but when x equals 2, you keep going right there. It says undefined, so that's a hole. And that's what we talked about right here. So just be cautious about that when you're looking at that kind of stuff. For right now, everything will be easily factorable on the denominator, so you can find your vertical asymptotes algebraically pretty quickly. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is the horizontal, or the end behavior. So this is the end behavior shortcut. This works with rational functions, okay? This does not work with any other type of function, just rational functions. So let's say that I have my function is going to be, let's go x cubed minus 4x divided by 3x squared plus 6. Now, this is a trick in calculus, so it's a good trick for you guys to start using. If we're trying to figure out our end behavior, okay, most people don't know, okay, what does x cubed minus 4x look like over, they're going to know what that graph looks like. Okay, but we can use a shortcut. What really matters when we're talking about the end behavior is the leading coefficient, or the leading term. The leading term is the highest exponent. So realistically, what we can do, we can really think about it as x cubed over 3x squared. Okay, so this is a little bit easier to work with because x cubed over 3x squared can reduce. It reduces down, the x cubed over x squared reduces down to just an x. I have 1/3 x now. Okay, 1/3 x, I can think of that graph a lot easier than the x cubed minus 4x over 3x squared plus 6. Now, I'm only thinking about the end behavior, so the left and right as it goes towards infinity on both sides. So this is a little bit easier to think about. The graph of 1/3 x, that's just a line, that's just a slope. Okay, if I'm thinking about this, that means my end result, my end behavior, as x is going towards negative infinity, as I'm going to the left of my graph, it's going towards negative infinity. The limit, as x is going to positive infinity, is going towards positive infinity. Let me show you one more option for our end behavior. Let's say that I have 4x squared minus 6x over 8x plus 12. Okay, so again, I don't need to worry about anything else except for these leading coefficients. This is going to go down to, I wanted that. Let's change that to a cube. Sorry. 1 over 2x. Okay. Well, that right there, that function is in the form of this. Okay, so see how this is getting more general, where you need to know those parent functions, those 12 parent functions, because you're either going to have like a 1 over an x or a 1 over x squared. What do those graphs look like? You know, it's all based on our parent functions. If I have an x squared, what's that graph look like? Where's the end behavior of this going? So the limit of this one, as we're going towards negative infinity, is going towards 0. The limit, as x is approaching positive infinity, of f of x is also going to 0. Which by default, remember, end behaviors are the same thing as our horizontal asymptotes if they're going towards a certain point or a certain value. So that's our graphs of rational functions.